Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the international rugby matches that are taking place all throughout November. And this one is Wales taking on Argentina. This is a very intriguing type of game because the Welsh, they haven't had their best run over the last couple of years, but up against a side like Los Pumas at the Principality Stadium, Argentina, they have had that reputation of an up and down side in terms of that momentum, and if Wales was somehow able to pull off the massive upset win here, it would then make it a lot more tricky for Argentina to make it to the top six of the Rugby World Cup draw. Now, I do apologise for my voice. We were sick over the weekend, and it certainly sounds like it at the moment, but we'll be looking through at the starting lineups. First of all, the Welsh. It is Reece Kerr, Dewey Lake alongside Kieran Azarati as the front row. Duff Jenkins in the locking jaw alongside Adam Beard was a welcome return for the Welsh in this contest. Alex Mann, Jack Morgan, and also Aaron Wainwright slots in as that number 8. Now, Jack Morgan's work in the breakdown is something that always is a little bit underrated for this Welsh side. He is absolutely phenomenal at getting over that ball, ripping it away for his side, and Aaron Wainwright, one of the more experienced heads out there on the field. For the Welsh, Thomas Williams alongside Dan Edwards as that 9 and 10 combination. Josh Adams slots in out on the left wing for this matchup, and then Ben Thomas, Max Llewellyn in the midfield with Tom Rogers and Blair Murray there as the number 15. Looking through at Argentina's starting side, it is Mako Vivas, Julio Montoya, and also Pedro Delgado. So not massively different from what we saw throughout the Rugby Championship for Los Pumas. They are a very strong side no matter who they throw on the field. Like I said, it's just that consistency that they're trying to find. In the future, Guido Petti alongside Marcos Crema as the locking duo. So Crema finding his way into the starting side. Normally would be in that 7 jersey or somewhere around there, but they can also have him as the lock. Pablo Matera, Juan Martin Gonzalez, and also Johan Oviedo, who for me was one of the best players throughout the Rugby Championship for Argentina. He was a standout in the 8 jersey, making those meters for fun, and also quite a few clean breaks. That man, even though he was supposed to be a number 8, no one told him that though. So he was doing very good things. Simon Benitez Cruz as the number 9 with Presiantelli starting in as the 10. Mateo Carreras out on the left wing. Santiago Chocobares as well as Justo Picardo in that midfield with Batista Del Gui and Santiago Carreras there as the number 15. We have got there Kyle Julius. We should lose to Argentina, says Kyle there, and also hi Hamish says, hey no, welcome in and come on Wales. And they're too, what ranking of Wales these days? I'll just get the world rankings up because the thing is, there's been a couple little shuffles throughout this weekend, and not so much in the top sides, but actually in more so slightly lower ranked teams in the world rankings. At the moment, the Welsh are 11th. Now, they actually have had themselves a nice little boost. I believe that is because of Georgia losing in their matchup, which I think happened. I'm not too sure. There are so many matches that took place throughout the weekend. But for this, it says that Wales are currently 11th. And yeah, whether or not that stays that way, we will have to wait and see. They actually have a lot of points that they can gain from this contest. If the Welsh were to somehow get themselves a win by, let's say, over the 16-point margin, they would actually find themselves moving up 2.5 in the overall rankings. Whereas if Argentina were able to get themselves the win, they would go into that top 6 and just keep on extending that a little bit further. We have there hi from Tom. Welcome in. Hope you're doing extremely well. What are the odds for Wales? 1 second, we'll get that up as well while we have got the minute silence just before the game, as the players get ready to sing the national anthems, and then they will be rearing to go for this match of international rugby. Georgia beat the USA, but the Americans managed to score 30 points against them. That must have hurt their rankings total. Yeah, I guess maybe if... Where are the USA? USA are 15th, Georgia are 11th. I'm confused at why they have -1. Unless, of course, yeah, no matter what, I think Georgia should have got some boost of points up against the US, or at least a nice little mover for them. Wales are 12th, says Smiling Joe. And also, we've got there, the trumpeter was faking it, says Ithukoloshe. But Wales are $3.80 underdogs up against Argentina, who are sitting $1.25. In the rankings, we have got there also, hi Hamish, hope you're feeling better than yesterday. I'm feeling all right. The voice sounds awful, though. I will mention, it sounds like I've been talking for about 15 hours, which I guess I have been. So maybe that's why. It doesn't sound great, but hopefully it will warm up as we get into this stream. And Morena Hamish, get well, mate. Bloody champion to be still streaming. Says Nas Williams there. And come on, Los Pumas from South Africa, says Graham. And there too. But of course, do let me know your score predictions for this contest, ladies and gentlemen. Looking through, first of all, 1 second, we'll go like that. Here's Argentina. In terms of what they have got coming up in the very near future, they have got Scotland next week. That game also going to be on the Monday, so actually the same kickoff as this match. Could be a very intriguing type of matchup. Scotland having a decent showing up against New Zealand, but by the end of the game, New Zealand starting to run away with it. They're a little bit more also than England the week after, a rematch of what we saw throughout the July internationals, in which we saw 2 victories going the way of the English. Then for Wales, to be fair to the Welsh, they have not gone with an easy tour here. You know, they are a side that have been struggling, yet they said we'll face Argentina, we'll face Japan, which is a rematch of the July internationals, and then they'll play New Zealand and South Africa, close out their November internationals comps. Now, the benefit for Wales is they are a lot lower in the world rankings than both of these two sides. So even if they somehow cause an upset in one of them, they would actually finish with a massive boost and consider themselves in a pretty decent position at the end of November. But at the end of the day, it is still going to be tough for Wales here. They are, for me, a lot younger in terms of across their whole side than a lot of international teams. They're almost in that rebuilding phase. But it is going to take a couple of weeks at least, or not weeks, couple years, I would say, before they start to really find their rhythm, which will make it tricky. This was the Six Nations in the way that it's set. As you can see, Wales sitting there with the 3 points, and then the Argentines for their rugby championship, they were sitting there in last as well. Now, some would argue, and I am one of those people, they should have actually finished third because of the fact that Australia got themselves 2 bonus points from a forward pass that led to their last-minute try up against the Argentines. But I would certainly say that Argentina deserved that third-place spot. Yeah, not too far away from the kickoff of this contest. Just about to have the Welsh national anthem in one moment. I will quickly mute for half a second. There we go. We are back, hopefully. And we'll go like this and like that as well. There we go. We are back to the normal scoreboard. Now we have got, there we go, another potential bad afternoon of watching Wales. And happy Monday to you, Hamish. I'm still enjoying Sunday and that South African win. Says Hano there, and hello, Hamish. Says Daryl, welcome in. Hope you're doing extremely well. And Argentina 35-17 in the favour of Los Pumas. It should be a win for Los Pumas. A lot of people going for Los Pumas in there as well. And it's the hope that kills you. Ask the Scots. Wales don't have any, so you'll be fine. Says Uthikoloshe. And did Wales come last in the Six Nations? Did they even win a game? They did not. Throughout that Six Nations competition, that was actually a part of their losing streak, but eventually ending it in the match up against the Japanese in July internationals. So at the moment for the Welsh, I believe, if I am correct, they're on a 1-match winning streak at the moment for Wales. So there you go. Coming into this game with more momentum than they have had in many of the other matches. So they'll be hoping for the best and to continue that up against the Argentines. Argentina should take this pretty easily. Wales are shocking, says Akaris there. Yeah, although the thing is, they've got a couple returns here at the moment. You look through at the bench as well. Lewis Rees-Zammit slotting in as that number 23. Didn't quite earn himself a starting cap for his big Welsh return. When's the game kicking off? This game kicking off in about 1 minute's time. So we are just about underway for this match. Lewis Rees-Zammit playing. He certainly is in that number 23 jersey. Also at the bench, they've got Kieran Hardy for this matchup. So I would say it's one of the stronger lineups we've seen from Wales in the last little while. Josh Adams out on that left wing. Jack Morgan back in that loose forward trio alongside Aaron Wainwright. Thomas Williams, the starting 9. Tell you what, he was so unlucky for the British and Irish Lions tour. He was one of the most informed 9s, I think, across the whole world of rugby up until he got himself that injury. But the fact that he is now back, and honestly, if he plays like he did throughout the British and Irish Lions tour, Argentina are going to have to play well here. He's blowing the whistle. Says LJ the man. We are just about to find out. My logical pick is Argentina by 11, but something is telling me Wales to win. Says hey no. And there as well. And we are what we are. We don't need anyone feeling sorry for us. That stadium is red. Says V. And there as well. Yeah, a lot of support for the Welsh at the Principality Stadium. And that is one thing that I have always admired about this Welsh rugby team is even when they've been struggling, they still get a massive amount of support from the locals who still believe that this Welsh side can one day get back to where they want to be. But Steve Tandy, his first day in charge of the Welsh for an international rugby fixture, they have got rid of Warren Gatland. This is a new era of Welsh rugby, you know. What is good at 4 a.m. in the morning, Amish? Cold pizza, says Glenn Sell. Cold pizza is great. Some people are firmly against it, aren't they? Having pizza cold, but I do feel like it's just so much easier than having to heat it up. Of course, you heat it up first initially. It's been a good weekend of rugby. Could see an upset here, though. Says Stephanie, and also we have got their cold pizza, leftover beer with a hangover to boot. And also the Pumas give an 80-minute performance against the Box, or gave an 80-minute performance. Wales don't have 80 in the tank. Says on the right, although Argentina also up against the Australians did not give an 80-minute performance whatsoever. They gave a 40-minute one. So there is the chance of a 50-50 type of Argentine side. Once again, they'll either come out absolutely firing for the full 80 or they'll have mistakes. But Ben O'Keefe, he will be the man in charge of this game at the Principality Stadium. Pizza is pizza, no matter if it's hot or cold, says Richard. And there too, but Santiago Carreras gets us underway for this match of international rugby. Now with a little bit of luck, the scoreboard, there we go. It's going to be updating itself. A good kick downfield from Thomas Williams from inside of the Welsh 22. First line out of the day. And all we are, everyone in the world, is dust in the wind. Says LJ, that seems very deep for 4:15 a.m. on a Monday morning. Now Julio Montoya, throws going in, nicely taken by Argentina around the halfway line. Santiago Chucabarez, little pop pass up into the hands of Marcos Crema, 45 metres out from the line at the moment for the Argentines. Stylistically, this has all the potential of being a brilliant match. Mateo Carreras running down the outside. Manages to pop it back on the inside to his teammate Batista Delgui. Those two men making up the wingers for this contest, but a little bit of hustle in the breakdown from Blair Murray. Gets the ball back for Wales, kicks it downfield, and it looks like he's going to be half by winning this foot race here up against Presiantelli. Ball's knocked on again. Chucabarez does manage to clean out his own teammate in the process of running forward. Hope is all we have. And English do their best to take that away from us. Says Fleshin. First up prediction, 12-5 to Argentina. Says on the right, okay, so you're going with a relatively close one for the first half of rugby. This one going to be kicked into touch by Benitez Cruz, but that is a very good first play from the Argentines, as well as Blair Murray showing a lot of intent, a lot of hustle early on from the Welsh fullback. Managed to win the ball in the breakdown, then kick it downfield, then almost won that foot race, which could have put Wales in a particularly good spot on the field. Dewey Lake now with the line-out throw, nicely taken by Adam Beard. Not going for the rolling maul this time, but instead breaking off the back. Dewey Lake passes into the hands of Tom Rogers. I think we're going to see quite a quick tempo to this match early on for the Welsh. Thomas Williams, I should say, skip past out wide. And it was called as forward from Ben O'Keefe. One moment, I am about to sneeze, so what we'll do is we'll switch to that one, and we will quickly mute. Here we go. Hopefully we are all right in that regard. And we won't have to sneeze too often throughout this live stream, but sadly still sick. And halftime 17-7 in the score in favour of the Pumas, says Brett. Okay, so a lot of people going with the Argentines to have a decent lead early in this matchup. Like they've just mentioned, their physicality of Argentina. The pack weight, though, they are actually giving up 15 kgs. We have got their Contempomi looks absolutely chill. Says cited canvas. But now, ball's going to be fed in by Simon Benitez Cruz. So that's gone down in the front. And free kick awarded to Los Pumas. I also predict a sneeze break every 10 minutes. Sneeze breaks in the first half, says on the right. And also, is this the Mark Goldbridge of rugby, says Mr. Ponte. I'd say that it's like the downgraded, less decent version of that, maybe. I'd say. I'm going to play Pumas. I'm going to say Pumas today. Not sure about Wales. Closer game than expected, says Ruth. Now going back across to the left-hand side. Blair Murray. And kick this one up high off his left boot. Chasing hard after this one as Tom Rogers doesn't quite get there. Santiago Carreras almost goes straight through the middle before the tackle was made by the Welsh defence. Vamos, says RJJ. Off to the left-hand side. Skip pass Now finding the hands of Pablo Matera, flying down the wing with the ball in one hand, and that is probably why you shouldn't do that. In that case, Pablo Matera just having that ball knocked out of his hand and does go into touch. And greetings, Hamish. You're looking refreshed. How's the nostrils? Says Ruth. Yeah, nah, still pretty sick at the moment. But luckily, I haven't had to blow the nose as much throughout the last 24 hours or so. And good, or actually less than that, about probably 16 hours. Good afternoon to all, says Helen. Welcome in. Oh, throwing this one in, and it's knocked on by Wales, so pops into the hands of Julian Montoya. Tries to bump off Thomas Williams before he is tackled by his opposite number, Dewey Lake. They're 22 metres out from the line at the moment, Los Pumas. Going to use this back line again. Little grubber attempted in behind. Juan Martin Gonzalez chases after it, but the ball goes into touch just 1 metre out from the Welsh line. 4.5 minutes already gone in this fixture. Like they have said, just a mistake from Wales at line-out time. It actually went straight into the hands of Alex Mann, but just slipping out of the fingertips. I got allergies, hay fever driving me crazy. There's Ruth there. Now taken by Aaron Wainwright this time. Argentina, or Wales, sorry, going for that long and over the top line-out option. Thomas Williams rolling this one back. Stuff Vaseline and Vicks up nose, plug it good. Says Ruth, and how's it, Ruth? Says Philip there, down by the halfway line. Argentina now looking to run this one back with Santiago Herreras. Or he is tackled by Duff Jenkins. Another penalty advantage going in favour of the Argentine. That is for Wales being offside. That's another penalty. This one should be an easy 3 points if they want it. I would say that it's worth going for here. If you're the Pumas, you're early on in a game at the Principality. The home crowd will definitely be behind the Welsh. So you just try and take some of the wind out of the sails, although this one's a little bit closer to the sideline. So it's not actually a guaranteed kick. So it looks like Argentina are willing to once again look towards that corner. And Herreras, beautiful player, says Ruth. Are we talking Mateo or are we talking Santiago? Because both men very strong for the Argentines. Santiago Herreras, a brilliant impact player throughout the Rugby Championship. Julian Montoya now ready to throw this ball in. About 5 metres out from the try line now. Nicely taken at the front for Guido Petty. Didn't get a huge amount of starting minutes throughout the Rugby Championship. We did see Franco Molina as well as Pedro Rubiolo as the main starters. But now this is close to the line, just dragged down 0.5 metre short. Prisciantelli tries to pick and go. He's not the biggest player out there on the field, so it doesn't quite work out for him in terms of getting that forward momentum flowing. They are just short of the line again. Juan Martin Gonzalez has a carry of his own. Benitez Cruz trying to control traffic, and it is another advantage against the Welsh for offside. Benitez Cruz, he has got the option of going across to Picardo, which he does decide to use. Thought about reaching out. Can't quite do it again. How's it, Hamish? Says Yanko, welcome in. Now pick and go from the big man, Delgado. He's going to be held up. Or is he? No. There is a grounding. I think that might have been when he was trying to put that ball back to place it, but it is actually the big man, Pedro Delgado, who ends up scoring the first try of the contest for the Argentines. And they are now on the board. Let's go Pumas try. Says Brett in there. And early pressure on by the Pumas. Says Ruth. Yeah, originally having a couple penalty advantages for the offsides. We see it there. It was just short initially and then just wiggles his way over the try line. It was decent defence, I thought, from Jack Morgan initially. But couldn't quite slow him down enough. Or enough for the big prop not to be able to get that grounding. Philip, did you get some relaxing in after that excitement yesterday, says Ruth? Now 8 minutes into the contest and already some excitement early on for the Argentines after getting themselves the try of the tight air prop Delgado, adding the extra 2 for Herreras. And that is now going to make the score 7-0 in favour of Argentina. 8 minutes. FFS says flesh in there, and who will win this one? Well, Argentina are considered as the favourites. Wales are considered as the side that are very unpredictable. But I would say the safe bet in this game has to be Argentina, but you just never know with the Welsh because they've actually had some decent second half comebacks as well. We've got to remember in their game up against Japan, the first match they actually started well and then I think finished badly. Whereas second game they finished badly, started badly, finished well. I think it was. That's not a try. It's not over the line, says Scott. I don't think we've found a try this weekend that you've actually agreed with, Scott, as a whole. I think that every single try that we've had, that's a hard collision in the air. But yeah, I thought that he was initially short, but then he did get that little half movement where he did find his way onto the line, as they show from the second angle. And vamos los Pumas, says Santiago. Nice try, Pumas love from South Africans in the south. And we have also got there, Ruth, behave yourself, please, or I might have to put your badass on timeout, says Nars Williams. Oh, nicely taken by Argentina. Juan Martin Gonzalez passes on the outside to Mateo Carreras. Now pops it back inwards. Argentina take it. Prisciantelli scores it. And that is now try number 2 for the Argentines. It took them a whole 60 seconds from the last time that they scored. Blair Murray looks like he may be injured in the process. Scott just wants World Cup final rugby where points are only ever scored with penalties and maybe drop goals. And how about that, Scott? That's definitely a try. This one goes up and then just going up for that ball. Juan Martin Gonzalez gets it on the outside to Mateo Carreras. And then from there, just saw the option on the inside to kick it. And Prisciantelli, he wasn't winning the initial foot race. It was actually Benitez Cruz. It looked like he was going through first. Go Wales, says Samantha there. About 10 minutes in and 12-0 for the Argentines now. Vamos Carreras offloads, says it was there from Ruth. And that kick has gone over, making the score now 14-0 in favour of Argentina. This is a quick-fire start to this match and definitely not the start to November that the Welsh were after. One moment, I am about to cough, so I will quickly pop off to the side and mute. They are good. This current Welsh team is so untalented. Says Morgan there, and let's hope us Wales can hang in, make a match of it. I do have my doubts though, and Wales look like England in disguise. And damn, 14 points already. My prediction is 15-7. Is wrong at halftime, says Brett. Yeah, I think unless something happens drastically here where Wales can shift this momentum, it may be close to, I don't know, I don't want to say 26-0 at halftime if they don't get it sorted, but they just need to find some possession. Blair Murray had a great impact just before, early on in the match, where he was able to get a little bit of possession going. Now Pablo Matera sells the big dummy. But up to the halfway line, Wales will cancel another rugby region, says RJJ. Off to the left-hand side. Little chip attempted in behind. There's going to be another advantage. Batista Delgui did all the hard work to make the meters, but then does end up dropping it, so they will go back for the initial penalty. Doesn't Wales have some South Africans in their squad? Hoping they're not playing today, says Yanko. And Wales not playing well, says Helen in there. Well, they just haven't had much possession. Their one attack that they had of Blair Murray actually looked all right. But up until, or since then, we have just predominantly seen the Argentines with the ball in hand. It looks like Argentina again have decided to kick this one towards the corner, but that one's gone dead. A mistake from Los Pumas. That is exactly what Wales needed. Just a nice little momentum shifter at this point in time. Wales only there to sing the anthem, says Avi. Well, let's say did that extremely well. It was a brilliant rendition of the Welsh national anthem. It always is at the Principality Stadium, but just trying to get a few too many meters there. A new coach, same stuff, says Morgan. Well, that's the thing. If the results don't start stacking up for the new coach, people might look at Warren Gatland and say, oh, it wasn't actually him at that point in time. One moment, I'm about to sneeze again. We are good. As Argentina playing well, they have been playing very nicely throughout this first 13 minutes of the contest. They have made some very good decisions on attack, some strategic ones. That's going to be the free kick going the way of the Welsh. Thomas Williams going across to the right-hand side. Little pop pass back to Williams, who pierces the gap. Looks like he's going to continue that British and Irish Lions form. Blair Murray, ball on the outside. 22 metres out from the try line now. Williams goes back across to Dan Edwards. It's the first real attacking chance that we've seen for the Welsh that hasn't come from just a clean break in the match up, and a drop ball on the outside. Llewellyn does let it slip through his fingertips. I think he was looking at Batista Delgui in front of him there to just take his eyes off the ball. And we have got there, you need to take the ball away from the Pumas. If you don't, they will dominate you. Is the Principality Stadium Cardiff Arms Park? I'm not actually too sure. I know that what was its name before the Principality? I can't remember what it is, but I think it's had a couple names. It's safer in Spain. Thanks for your commentary. Says Wade there. Oh, South African in Spain. I've just realised that was. But yeah, greatly appreciate you popping in for this matchup. Of course, we've got plenty more international rugby coming next weekend, and hopefully the voice will be a little bit better by then as well. I would have been able to get over my cold, and we'll be good to go for another 20 hours of live streaming. Now, big run forward for the Welsh. That look forward from the pass to Jack Morgan, but Thomas Williams will score between the posts, but I think they'll go back and roll this out for a forward pass. Millennium Stadium, that's the one. And we have got there, was the Millennium Stadium. Says exposing lies. And also we have got there, where'd that go? Can we have a sneeze count? Or a contest for the second half? Says Akaris there. The Arms Park is next door, says Fleshin. But nice backline here for the Welsh. I just think that this pass into the hands of Jack Morgan, that for me was forward. But if they're not going to go back and check it, that's very good news for Wales. In fact, that would be ideal for the Welsh. Uh-oh. Nah. Kick has gone over. Oh. Okay, so they've never checked that forward pass. Wales will take that, making the score now 14 points to 7. It did look like it went forward by a couple metres. And the pass to Jack Morgan. His one went back to Thomas Williams, though. And Cardiff Arms is a slightly different location. Says George there. Looking healthier today, Hamish, says Salah. We're slowly getting there, I think. Give me 1 or 2 more days and I'll be back to 100%, hopefully. And I thought it looked forward. I hope it doesn't get checked. Says Hayno. Yeah, so they haven't gone upstairs to actually check that one. And I think New Zealand go beat England. Says Johan, that'll be an interesting matchup. I think that the English had a good game up against Fiji at times. They still had a few mistakes here and there, but I think most international sides have been doing that throughout November, New Zealand being one of them. But yeah, when those two sides play off, normally very close. Same old story for Argentina and the refs. Says Santiago, yeah, all you got to do is look at that rugby championship and know that the Argentines have been a little bit hard done by before. Looking at that table, the fact that they were 4th rather than 3rd, because of an Australian forward pass at the end of that contest. New Zealand will be 30 points better than England, says Stephen. And Pumas are going to be prowling now, pouncing time, another try coming. And New Zealand on the block going to win all their games, I think, says Brett. And luck of the Irish working for Wales, says Stephanie there too. But Julio Montoya ready to throw this one in 16 minutes into the game. And we have got a contest on our hands here, ladies and gents. 3 tries scored already. We're only 16 minutes in. Now, Joaquin Oviedo, that number 8 jersey, he was, like I said, phenomenal throughout the Rugby Championship. Bonus point for the Australians. Says Santiago there. Who do you think is going to win? Well, Argentina are the favourites. But like I said, Wales are unpredictable, which I think pretty much sums up them over the last about 36 months or so. Did so well, made it actually through to the quarterfinals of that last Rugby World Cup. They actually met up against Argentina in that contest where they were defeated by Los Pumas. Now, Prescantelli scored himself a try earlier on in the matchup. 5 phases in for the Argentines. They sit him 30 metres out from the try line. Another step there from Picardo. And are you a New Zealander or a South African? Can't tell from the accent, says John. So I am from New Zealand, although I also have a cold. So I don't know whether or not that slightly changed my accent for just this weekend. Oh, now, bit of a fend there. Almost sneaking through was Benitez Cruz. 30 metres out, 5 metres from the near touchline for the Argentines. Santiago Chuca Perez. One of the standout 12s throughout the Rugby Championship. Great try. Wales defo not forward, says Scott Bowie. Okay, that kind of tells us what we need to know. But that's a good kick in behind, or is it? No, just goes into the in-goal area for Argentina. So that is now the second time that they've ended up kicking that one dead. Wales doing awful under these high balls between England and Kiwis. And Wales win. Says Langisa there, all deciding to go quickly there for the Welsh, and they have kicked it way downfield into the Argentine 22. Charging back, Thomas Williams misses the tackle on Batista Del Gui. Oh, and a drop ball from the Argentines on their own 22. Trying to get this attack going, but it's a mistake made by Los Pumas, and it gives the Welsh a perfect attacking opportunity. Bro sounds nothing like a South African. He sounds like a South Islander for sure. Says Alumi there. I think Scott is just a Cantabrian. Oh, sorry, a contrarian. Whatever is the hot take of the day. Says Youngko, get better, Hamish. Much love from everyone on your channel. Says Brett. And Hamish, French were awful yesterday, no passion. Yeah, they started that match well and then just disappeared in the contest. It's as if they got the red card, because it seemed to be that after that red card of the South Africans, it fired up the Springboks, but it actually seemed to demotivate France. So I don't know whether they thought that it was going to be too easy when they were facing a 14-man South African side, but it wouldn't have taken a rocket scientist to know that that was not going to be the case, and if anything, it was going to get more challenging up against the men in green and gold. Yeah, we see that pass to Juan Martin Gonzalez, and it was just too far out in front of him. It slipped through his fingers, and yeah, you can see the frustration for the Argentine coaches. I asked this yesterday, but it disappeared. And that bombardment of comments. What's the difference between the North and South Island accent? That's a good question. I know that people from Gore get told that they have a very specific accent because they almost roll their R's a little bit. I don't actually know. I have to get Alumi, to help me out with that one. Because I don't notice a massive difference. But I guess it's a little bit more, brief, the South Island accent. In terms of, it's pretty just straightforward, just hits you. I don't know how to describe accents. And I thought the Boks were going to lose. Laying a man down, France fluffed their opportunity up for the win. Now going off to the right-hand side. Thomas Williams pops it in behind. Beautiful inside ball from Dan Edwards. Now Williams again, he is going to be the glue that holds this Welsh team together in the near future. Pass back across, Dewey Lake. I wrote Scotland off yesterday and I was right. Now Wainwright, hits it up again, pick and go from Alex Mann, just gets a couple extra metres. Looks like Wales, they've got about 4 men in that breakdown trying to protect this ball very nicely. And they've got themselves the penalty advantage now. Wainwright, the pick and go before he is tackled by Oviedo and Montoya. The Welsh getting some much needed possession here. The difference is South Island accent's cool. Our North Island accent sucks, says Naz Williams. Now off to the right hand side. Now Aaron Wainwright, big collision there again for him. Pick and go. Off to the left-hand side, Alex Mann has another crack at the line. Thomas Williams passes across to the left, reaching out there. That looked close. No try. He was short and then lost it forward, Reece Keir. We have there, why is the channel called Kiwi Lads when it's just you, Hamish? Says Kevin, it isn't just me. We had George on the live stream a couple of weeks ago for the Rugby League. There were 4 of us to start with, but unfortunately due to work commitments and schedules and everything like that, I'm the only one most of the time who is available. We've been trying to get George on for the past couple of weeks, ever since he came back on for a Rugby League live stream. But sadly, because he is a farmer, you're pretty hard pressed to try and get a farmer to have a free weekend, or at least a decent hour. Oh, and that's the try for Dewey Lake and the Welsh. They will go in for their second try and they'll get back into it now. There you go, Dewey Lake, former captain of the Welsh. We have got there, I understand that the Principality is built where the Arms Park was. I know someone who was involved with the build. There was an error on the planning of one of the stands, which is not altered, says Icarus. Shout out to George and his chicken, says Stephanie. Yes, he was showing off that pack of chicken wings on that live stream. He went home and he said that they were absolutely phenomenal as well. The Silver Ferns are playing Scotland at 5 a.m. Is that today that they're playing them? I didn't even realise. And I don't think Silver Ferns, netball. I mentioned about how one day I'm going to try and get my Nana to join me for an international women's game of netball. That might be hard to do, but we'll see what we can do. Then she could be one of the other Kiwi lads. Now, that one's going to be going over. And that makes the score now 14 points to 14 after the 22 minutes. How Wales are this good all of a sudden, says Wimar. I think they just needed some time with the ball. Like I mentioned, that first 10 or so minutes, with the exception of that Blair Murray break, they hardly touched the pill. So once they've had their hands on the ball and they've started going through a few phases, we're actually starting to see Wales play some actually pretty decent rugby. What do you think of Chocobare's ceiling? Says, Sifo, I assume that's what that advantage was for. Well, they've got their Wales, their most recent losing streak was ended when they were able to beat the Japanese. So glad the box won, says Brett. And a Kiwi lassie Nana, says Stephanie. Now, rolling this one back, Thomas Williams. Would you, Graham, beat you in a netball penalty shootout? Well, I think a few years ago, maybe. I don't want to big myself up too much, but I think I'd have the distance over her now. But, you know, we got a table tennis table a few years ago for Christmas, and she was smacking that thing round. You know, she was not going easy on absolutely anyone. She was a local tennis champion as well, so was my mum. So I probably missed my calling there. But, yeah. I think I'd take her in netball now. But then I'd probably purposely lose, just because I'd feel bad. Everyone knows Pablo's a Kiwi. Says Nars Williams, ever since he got himself the mullet and did play for the Crusaders, a lot of Kiwis are trying to claim him as their own. It's a knock on there from Wales round the halfway line. It is going to be an Argentinian scrum. My prediction for a close first half was right, but off with regards to a low-scoring first half. Says on the right. Okay, Ben O'Keefe just asking for a little bit of consistency when it comes to the scrums. Just talking about the Argentines, currently ranked 6th in the world. They really do need this win. Because if Wales were to get themselves the victory, I'm just going to scroll down to here. Yeah, so pretty much, if Argentina were to lose this game, they will lose 1.68 on the world rankings, which would then mean that they are only about 0.5 ahead of the Australians. Which I think a lot of people would say is too close at this stage. We have their side note. Are you guys, do you know that Ben Smith, a rugby past journalist, and Ben Smith, the former rugby player, are two different people? Yes. And the Highlanders have actually had to come out multiple times and said, stop sending death threats to Ben Smith, the rugby player, because he's not the guy that you think he is. A lot of South Africans, I think they just straight away started abusing Ben Smith, the All Black. But yeah, there's a difference between him and the journalist. 25 minutes into this contest, just about 15 metres out from the line now for the Argentines. Hamish, the Boks are playing Italy next. That is correct. Yes, they are going to be taking them on next weekend. Trying to get the steal in the break down there. Jack Morgan has done just that. Manages to rip that ball away. And can we, the Southern Hemisphere, disown Australia? Coming out and saying, please address your death threats correctly is crazy, says Youngko. Yeah, they did. I should say they did say don't send death threats in general, but if you're going to send them, don't send them to just a random guy. Can we, the Southern Hemisphere, disown? I don't think we'll disown Australia. They're going all right. Yes, they lost to Italy, but we've all been there, or at least had a loss to an upset or an underdog team. Now off to the right-hand side again for the Argentines. Thankfully, the death threats are now being automatically redirected, says RJJ. Now, Marcos Kremer in the breakdown. They look like a little bit of confusion. He was asking Ben O'Keefe whether or not he was getting the penalty. We have there, I love Wales, says Tom there too. Now, trying to snipe around Baptista Delgui. Off to the left-hand side. Another step from Mako Vivas. We have got there, I know Ben Smith, the AB's legend, won't talk nonsense on the internet, says LJ. Marcos Kremer. After 10 phases in a row now for Los Pumas, they're in a good position on the field, but just haven't been able to get that one big pass to create the attacking chance. Benitez Cruz going out of Montoya. 10 metres out. Then there's a big knock on from Juan Martin Gonzalez. Actually his second knock on of the day. Bit of an unforced error. Normally you want to see a knock on from Wales now. So it is going to be their scrum feed 5 metres out from their own try line. You can see the frustration at the moment for this Welsh side. Looks like Mateo Carreras currently dealing with a couple eye issues. Fairbairn Smith is a pretty common name. possibility of being two separate people should at least cross people's mind. It's maybe not the death threat sending kind of, but maybe not the death threat sending kind of peoples. Says Yanko. Oh, they're going upstairs here. Potential foul play against 9 red. So that is against Thomas Williams. Now the question is, I think that's that he's done the foul play rather than he's had it done against him here. I think. We're going to see the replay now. What is that? I think Ben Thomas has just done a donkey kick backwards. He was being held on the ground. Okay, he kicks back. Does he hit Pablo Matera in the head? So they're just checking to see whether or not he's been kicked in the head here. The breakdown was such a weird one. Thomas Williams, like normally you would just get annoyed, but you wouldn't do what he's just done. If that makes sense, this is such a weird one for Ben Thomas. You'd assume it's just because he's young and inexperienced, but yeah, getting held on the ground. Tell you what, he might be very lucky that he's missed the head, or else he was probably looking at about a 6+ week suspension had he made contact. They're at a yellow card here up against the Welsh for the intent. Pablo Matera ends up holding his head in the end. I think I missed the head, says Yanko there. Good afternoon, how are you feeling now, Hamish? Says Mohadeen. Still a little bit sick, but slowly getting there, hopefully, in the future. Right. He has time. He sees the player. They're calling it as a yellow card for the intent of trying to kick a guy in the head on the ground from Ben Thomas. And that's going to go for an off-field review where they will look at the angles again and see whether or not there is connection there. What's going on, says Santiago, it is a yellow card for the Welsh. And also when is Rassi announcing his team for Saturday, says Mohadeen. Not too sure yet. I think he won't do it as late as he did the one up against France, I don't think. I think he'll go back to the early announcement for Rassi. I'll see whether or not I've got some sort of update on it. But yeah, they're saying there he didn't make a lot of contact, but the intent was to kick the guy in the head on the ground. If you throw a punch but miss, do you still get punished? If so, this kick should be punished. Says on the right. Yeah, so they've just said there pretty much at any level you are not allowed to do what Ben Thomas just tried to do. Stupidity from Ben Thomas. Definitely because Wales did so well to keep themselves in this game and get back into it. Like they said, all it takes is that like sprig to go on the eye of Pablo Matera. If it was upgraded by the bunker, it'll be 20 minutes, not permanent, correct? That is correct, yes. Now this one's going to be overthrown to the back. And now 5 metres out from the line, here come the Pumas. They are in a perfect position to be able to strike back here, although very well defended in the rolling maul by the Welsh. This one looks like it's not quite coming out for Argentina at this point in time. The pile up, and that is brilliant goal line defence from Wales. Scott Murray did that in 2006. Got sent off immediately. Scotland versus Wales was a Springbok. It would be a red card and a 9-week ban. Says Tristan. If it was a Springbok, I think he would have had better accuracy with his feet and would have probably got him in the head. We have got there. Come on, Wales, get your act together. Says William. And the Puma says Ruth. And there as well. Yeah, that is very nicely done. Jack Morgan, the man initially who was getting in there. And then alongside that, Dewey Lake also getting involved. Teams play better with 14 players anyway. Proof was last night's game. Says on the right. You see there the fired upness of the Welsh. Thomas Williams gets a little bit of credit from his teammates too. Should be a 20-minute red. Says Stephen, and they will be reviewing it. It is about 9 minutes remaining on that yellow card where they do have the opportunity of upgrading it to a red. The Welsh must have had for breakfast to defend like that. One man down, says Yanko. And Captain Morgan says Ruth, yeah, he does often step up for the Welsh. Where's my lunch? Well, to be fair, what time zone are you in? I feel like there's absolutely no time zone other than maybe the US. that is actually lunchtime at this point in time. It's dinner time in South Africa. It's around 4:30 local time, I believe, for this game, or maybe a little bit earlier. So yeah, I don't know whereabouts it is actually lunchtime for yourself. We have got there Williams, JPR's son, JJ Williams' son, says, Ruth, there are a lot of Williamses out of Scotland, or sorry, out of Wales. And Cymru, come on, says a Leo there. It's more of a permanent red than the decision yesterday, says Stephen, now nicely taken by Batista Delgui, trying to step his way through Thomas Williams, making a nice tackle there, now off to the left-hand side, Pablo Matera, a collision with Azarati, as Whammy Zemi coming on, not yet. Later on in the game, though, we will get to see Lewis Rees-Zammit back in the Welsh kit. First time in a couple of years. And at Sunday lunchtime is any time after you wake up. And currently 5:45 p.m. in Cyprus. And speaking of Williams, says Nars Williams. And there as well. Now, how many games you done this weekend, Hamish? Sorry, I haven't tuned in at all, says Nars. No worries at all. I think about 6 we're up to at this stage. So it hasn't been too bad, although I have had a cold all weekend, which has made it much more difficult. Williams' second most common surname, and Wales, Jones is number 1. And at 3:45 p.m. Welsh time, says John there, but that is going to be a penalty going against Thomas Williams. This one's straight out in front of the post for Argentina, and it looks like they are going to take on the 3 points. For the amount of time he looks back, I don't think he's intentionally kicking his head. I just saw an Argentinian player grabbing him and jerking his leg to get him off. I should stay a yellow, says stubborn English fan. And come on, Argentina, you train with the best, no excuse. And the championship, says Tristan. Frustration for Argentina at the moment, although they will be able to add the extra 3, which then would give them the lead in this contest. Did see 2 quick fire tries at the start for the Pumas, and then from there, 2 coming back from the Welsh. Santiago Carreras does get it over, though, and makes the score 17 points to 14. So quite a close one at the moment between these two sides. And Salah greetings, says Ruth there too. Currently 9 minutes remaining of this first half. Another 6.5 remaining of that yellow card period too. That is, given that it doesn't get upgraded to a red. And hi Hamish, I just listened to some French TV commentators talking on the translated stream, saying that the French don't think much of Sasha Feinberg-Zulu and saying he's average. Says Albert, see, I wouldn't have given him man of the match. I know that he got it, but I would have given it to Malcolm Marx every day of the week for what he was able to do. I think that Sasha got better once they put Marty Libok on the field, and they did change to the tactics that suited Sasha's game, because this up and under stuff was definitely not what Sasha would have liked to do out there on the field, and I think we learnt that, and so did Rasi when they got through to that last kind of 30 minutes or so of the game. In fact, even later than that, when they switched the attacking style of running, that was when we saw Sasha start to come into his own. Are you able to have the try scorers at the bottom or not? Just curious, says, hey, no, I probably could have them at the bottom. I just didn't have them organised for this one, but I have got that bar down the bottom that would be big enough, I would say. Hang on, we'll just grab a random bar from ages ago. There we go. Yep, so it would fit all right. That was like an old school Super Rugby one. Fair enough, Sasha's try left the French bamboozled yesterday, and Sasha wasn't the man to match in that game, says Stephanie. But 8 minutes remaining in this first half for the Welsh. They have to try and fire straight back, even though they are at a man disadvantage. Totally remarks was epic lineouts and scrums. Says on the right, yeah, getting the wins and the breakdowns too for Malcolm Marx. Like, I don't think there were many things that all that man did wrong throughout the whole match. Maybe gave away 1 penalty. And agree though, I think Malcolm Marx should have been man of the match, says Brett. Now, going across there, big collision. Blair Murray goes to Kieran Azerati. Now, Adam Baird, directional change. And Sasha was crappy, nothing like we're used to. Says Roof, now passed out to Jack Morgan. Couldn't quite get his offload away to Josh Adams, gets driven into touch. And will now be the Argentine line-out. And we have got there Marks to serve that man of the match award for sure. Lunch is served from 12 to 8. After that, it's dinner, says Squinting. It sounds like you got plenty of time to be able to prepare your own lunch in that case. And when we got the red card, I really didn't know what to do to stay positive, but man, I'm glad I kept watching, says Albert. Yeah, I think that the Springboks, Sia Kolisi said it best afterwards. They prepare for times when they are down to 14. And they've had times recently that they have been down to the 14 men on the field, and they just pretty much use that as more motivation. Melu Diacha was man of the match yesterday. Says Stephen. Pablo Matera driven into touch there. Looks like there might be a bit of a head knock for Simon Benitez Cruz in the background as well. And Wales 14, Argentina 17. Says Kyle for the scoreline. Oh, that is a big shot from the Welsh. It's a loose ball. Okay, Alex Mann, they might look at this again here because he has gone through with a pretty hard collision after the ball is lost. I know they're saying it is fine. And that one's not straight from Wales at the line out. How you feeling today? I hope the flu has improved, says Amashihu. It's kind of moved a little bit. Yesterday it was my nose just kept on running. Now my throat's just not quite working. Can I ask a question, says Mohadeen? It's to do with Pollard, isn't it? We have the Andre the Giant is shockingly good as a Lucy, says Albert. I mean, you say shockingly good, but have you seen the size of the bloke? And also the fact that normally when he plays 12, he gets those turnovers in the breakdown anyway. So I feel like he's kind of built for a loose forward role as well. But similar to someone like a Quaka Smith, how he can go between the 4-pack and the back line. Oh, Mr. Kiwi Sir. Mr. Kiwi Sir looks a lot better, says Mania. And Luda's like Bucky is solid from shoulder to shoulder, says Ruth. We're having to Australia, they doing bad, says Mohadeen. Yeah, I haven't actually watched that game as of yet. We have good there. I feel bad for calling Mr. Kiwi Sir. I recently found out that Mr. Kiwi Sir is 26. I am 25, almost 26, about 20, 22, 23 days away from being 26 years old. All the other Kiwi lads, with the exception of Daniel, are 26 already. Daniel's also a December baby. But now going off to the right-hand side, Choca Perez, offload there from Oviedo. Another offload from Crema. Seems like Argentina at the moment are starting to find their rhythm. They're all on the same page. It can be so dangerous for this Welsh side, defending with 14. Julio Montoya, ball on the outside. Hamish, your mustache is still impressive, even if you're sneezing, says Ruth. Yeah, I think it's going to be disappearing for next week, though. I think we're going to be having a bit of a trim and tidying myself up. And we have got there, who says Ruth. Another tackle made on Argentina. They have had 5 phases, but throughout these 5 phases, they've probably had about 6 or 7 offloads. Now Simon Benitez Cruz passes back across to Presiantelli. Amir boy, says Salah there. 22 metres out from the line. Slow to get back up to his feet was Azarati. Guido Petty. Back across to the right, popping that ball up. This looks like a bad injury for Marcos Crema there. So maybe something in his midsection that he is dealing with. Do you remember the Eden Park flower bomb test? Were you too young? I don't remember it. My parents probably would, though. Delgi has a bit of a handling error. What games you doing, says Mohadeen. I assume you're talking about next week. In fact, we'll have a look through at halftime. We've got 3.5 minutes before the halftime break. A little bit of a mistake at the back from Blair Murray. It does manage to clear the lines. It's a big round of applause from the crowd, but they will only be about 12 metres down the field now. Right. What's happening now? Ben O'Keefe has the... Okay, so Ben O'Keefe just getting confirmation. It will stay as a yellow card because there was no contact with the head with the kick. Don't bother watching the Australia-Italy game. It's like watching Tier 2 Japanese club rugby. I'll probably still watch it. I do enjoy a good old-fashioned, hard-to-watch game of rugby every once in a while. We've done plenty of them on the channel, games that are supposed to be great and then haven't been. But we'll give it a look anyway. And 22 equals 23 days left. Let's do some mathematics. Not far from Christmas Day, though, says Nars Williams. Now you got me questioning whether or not I've got the maths right. I think it's 22 days, but I could be wrong. But then 23 for you guys in South Africa and New Zealand. Oh, sorry, in South Africa and Europe, I think. We'll see what day that gets you through to. And just joined, clearly Argentina are winning. Who are playing better, says Glenn. I mean, Argentina only winning by the 3 points. They've had some great attacking moments throughout this game. Wales have had 2 quick-fire tries in that middle patch of the game, but I'd say Argentina still look the most likely and the side who's been that little bit better throughout the match. Their defence has been strong. 61 tackles made, 6 tackles missed. Compared to Wales, who have had to make over the 100 tackles, and they have missed 14. I don't think it was a failed flank because I don't think he had the pace at high school to compete with the rest of the flankers. Or I think he was a failed flank, sorry. Says Hayno there. Wales will never win a game against a Tier 1 side again. Says Bastian. And 23 days for us South Africans. Says Stephanie. What is Australia's ranking now? They are still 7th in the world rankings, but if Argentina were to win this game, that would give them quite a nice buffer compared to the Aussies. Should almost secure them in the top 6, now breaking through. But it does mean that there is a chance that one of the top 6 sides will have to play Australia in the group stage. That one's become a rolling maul. Ball is available for Simon Benitez-Cruz. 2.5 minutes now remaining. Australia lost to Italy. They certainly did. Was probably considered as one of the big upsets of the weekend. Oh, another advantage. And that is going to be for Wales being offside. Benitez-Cruz goes himself and scores the try. He's had quite the battle out there on the field, taking some huge shots, but has now got that huge try for the Argentines. I'm trying to think if there was any upset this weekend that was bigger than that Australia-Italy one. Maybe you could argue, like Namibia losing to Belgium, I think was considered a bit of an upset. Portugal-Uruguay was supposed to be 50-50, and that's kind of what we got there. Romania beating Canada, I think that's about what was expected too. Maybe Uruguay, the fact that they beat Portugal 26-8 was considered as a bit of an upset rather than it being quite close. Georgia beating the USA was probably supposed to happen. So, yeah, I think biggest upset of the weekend was definitely the Italians. That one's gone over, though, making the score now at 27 points, or 24 points, sorry, to 14. We do see Ben Thomas return from the bin and upset. I'm sure the Scots are pretty upset after losing. Says Bastian, and Argentina is going to wipe the floor with Wales in the second half. Says Albert, I recently been watching Mr. Kiwi Sir play Rugby 25 and I really wanted to buy it, but then saw how much it costs. Yeah, that game is still, I believe, even now, after a few months of not playing it, it's still a broken game, which is a big shame. They've had updates coming out a lot less often. They've been working more on the rugby league game rather than the rugby union one. But yeah, it's now few and far between the updates for that game. Breaking the line, Pablo Matera, he just needs someone to be there for support. He kicks it off his left boot, going across to Mateo Carreras. This one, it stays in the field of play. He steps in with what a try that is for Argentina. Pablo Matera with the assist off his left boot. And he gets a massive hug from his teammates there. Matera with some brilliance off of his boot. Mateo Carreras, the job was still not done at the time that he needed that ball. Georgia lost to the USA. Says Akaris. Did they? I'm pretty sure they won 43-30, didn't they, the Georgians? Georgia beat USA, says Hayno. And we have got there as a Springbok supporter. Wish Australia can bloom again. Miss them. You're looking fabulous and you got fans. Says Ruth, did France not win this year? Says Mohadeen win this year as in the Six Nations. They did fantastic, says Bruce Hill. Yeah, that's got to be close to try of the weekend, I have to say. Like, in terms of the tries that we have seen, the fact that was Pablo Matera breaking through, which rugby game would you recommend? Xbox Series S. Honestly, there aren't really that many great rugby games out there, which is a big shame. But, oh, that's a great kick there from Carreras. I think that some people would still say something like a rugby challenge, but I wouldn't get that on Xbox Series S because you can't get it with the licensed teams. Namibia lost to Belgium. Belgium, who knew that Belgium play rugby, they've been actually going pretty well in Europe, the Belgian side. I'm curious to see how they match up with Samoa. I think that Samoa should still beat them, but yeah, Belgium in their game up against the Namibians just looked in control and pretty much stopped Namibia from having any chance of making it through to the Rugby World Cup. Halftime in this contest, and it's 31 points to 14 between these two sides. Boo, Argentina, boo, says Scott there. And Argentina going to mop the floor with Wales, says Brett. And it's just those quick-fire last-minute tries from the Argentines. They managed to score twice in about 2 minutes in the first time that they scored, and then twice just then, before the halftime break. Namibia are not the same without Berger, says on the right. Pablo, the adopted Kiwi. And pure brilliance, says Ruth. And game gone away from Wales just like that. I bet Belgian players play club in France, says Albert. I think a few of them are based out of France, yeah. Should I rather save my money? I think so. Rugby games are one of those ones that, like, unless you're going to play them a huge amount and you don't mind a few glitches here and there, like sadly, like there aren't really that many out there at the moment. Which games are you looking forward to doing next, or are you looking to do next weekend, says Hayno. 1 second, we'll go like this, and we'll go like that. There we go. These are the matches that are taking place next weekend, or at least a majority of them, involving the top-ranked sides. So, I believe the plan is going to be to do Italy, South Africa. That is one that is confirmed at the moment. England, New Zealand's confirmed. Scotland, Argentina, I want to say, is confirmed. And then I'm not sure what to do about Ireland and Australia and France, Fiji, because of the fact that both of those games overlap with each other. I might end up doing Ireland versus Australia maybe, but honestly that one's a 50-50, and if I can get a guest, I'm hoping to maybe organise for someone else to do the other match for me while I do one of them. And then Wales-Japan for me is also still a 50-50 at the moment, just because that's probably during a time that I'll end up doing some reviews of Italy versus South Africa, as well as England versus New Zealand. That'll probably be that window that that all gets done. But yeah, a lot of overlaps, as always, for international rugby in November. Sorry, I was just going by the world rankings, which I presume have not been updated properly. It has Georgia losing a point, USA gaining one. Yeah, I actually saw that as well earlier on, and I was confused at how they did end up giving USA a point for losing. But yeah, I think they got that mixed up in terms of the world rankings. Pablo hitting the steroids pretty hard when he was a young man, says Pablo, and going to watch the Silver Ferns during halftime. And also we have got the All Blacks versus England are going to be the big one, says Albert. And Pumas strong ever since they've been in the rugby championships with us, Australia and the ABs. Like and subscribe, fellow humans. Let's get this bloke to 100 Gs, says Nars Williams there too. If Australia can beat New Zealand, Argentina and South Africa, then they can beat Ireland, says on the right. Yeah, I do think that Australia-Ireland match should be the more competitive out of the contest. I should also mention Samoa and Namibia I am also going to be doing on the channel. Not sure about Brazil and Belgium yet. I'll probably have to watch those two sides play so that I can learn how to say the players' names, as we haven't covered a lot of Brazilian men's rugby and also not a lot of Belgian rugby on the channel. In fact, I think I've only covered some of their sevens, maybe. And that's only a very thin or small amount if I have. Mr. Kiwi Sir, played any Ashes cricket games? Played a lot of Cricket 19. That was one that I did a lot on the channel back in the day as well. In fact, I think that was the live stream that we were doing at the time when we brought up 1,000 subscribers. I was actually a cricket career mode. 1 second, we'll go like this. And like this as well. Belgium. No, I don't think we've ever done a Belgium match on the channel. Nothing in the live section. We've done a few Brazilian games, but I think that's more so the women's in the sevens. Oh no, in fact, just the one Brazilian game, and that was actually in the most recent Women's World Cup. It's a shame you're dumping them next year. And also we have got this, so True Brett says Santiago and Argentina are going to beat Scotland. That should be a really good game. Pumas strong ever since they have been in Rugby Championship with us, Australia and the ABs, says Brett. And Hamish the Cricketer, says Ruth. And there as well, they're just showing the highlights of the England versus Australia match taking place last week in the November internationals. So plenty more great matches to come in the November international window too. Wednesday next week we get to see Namibia versus Brazil, as well as Samoa versus Belgium. And then the next weekend after that, there's Wales versus New Zealand. Spain versus Fiji overlaps once again. Who did the scheduling there? Ireland versus South Africa. Should be a massive game, followed by France versus the Australians. And what is Mr. Kiwi Surf prediction for the Box versus Italy game? I think it will be about the same as what we saw in the matches throughout July, about a 25-30 point win for the Box. Sounds probably pretty harsh after we've just seen the Italians pull off the upset up against the Australians, but I think the Box are still playing some very good rugby at this point in time. Will Wales beat the Box? I don't think so. And we have got, unfortunately, I wish the Rugby Championship still Very sad about that, truly, says Brett. Yeah, it's one of those ones that, like, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of people excited about the fact that the tour is now a thing. We're going to see the All Blacks versus South Africa in a multi-match tour. But then it also will take away the momentum of what has been the best rugby championship, I would almost say, ever. And unfortunately, it's just one of those scenarios that, like, they're going to have to try and rebuild that competition back up. And just showing summary of the game so far. When sides score, they score in quick succession, I think is the best way of describing this. Argentina were able to get themselves 2 quick-fire tries relatively early on in the contest. Then Wales fired back with 2 of their own. And then a yellow card came for Ben Thomas for almost like a donkey kick. And then from there, we saw Argentina get themselves 2 more. But a bit back and forth at the moment, the way that it sits. But if Wales want any chance of coming back into this game, they really do need to get something going pretty early on in the second half. I reckon New Zealand could put 100 plus past this Welsh team. Says Morgan. Don't know about that. I'd say that New Zealand would probably be happy to win that game by 20 up against the Welsh. But it's a tricky one. Couple weeks away as well. But $20 on Wales being in the box by 25 points, says Sean. Tell you what, that would pay huge money, wouldn't it? I believe. Or at least it should, theoretically. One second, we'll go like this. And we'll go like that as well. An iPhone Argentina Woodlands, says Kyle there. And cheers, bud, says Maximus. No worries at all. But yeah, plenty more matches to come for these two sides as well. While we are at it, we might as well look through at what is coming up. We'll go like that and like that. There we go. Argentina, they have got their game next week up against the Scottish. And then the week after that, they'll be going head-to-head up against England. Alongside that, they have got, of course, the early stages. Well, I was going to say the early stages of July, they'll be playing someone. But I'm not actually too sure who they've got lined up for next year at this point, Argentina. For the Welsh, they have still got 3 big games. They've got that match up against the Japanese. One is going to be a pretty intriguing type of contest. And then alongside that as well, they have got New Zealand and they've got South Africa. They're 2 pretty tough games. Close out their November internationals. But yeah, still plenty of great games that'll come. This is a record-breaking Welsh side. Not a surprise, Ruth, respectfully, just more. A lot more consistency. Obviously, that comes down to playing AB South Africa on a regular basis. Says Nars Williams and Italy have really progressed over the last 2 to 3 years. They have proven their place in the Six Nations, but playing in the Six Nations has probably helped them get better. And Wales need to score first in the second half. Well, they are sunk, yeah. Yeah, they pretty much need the first try, and then they probably need the second one too. What is South Africa's next weekend? And the Coordination Series. So for South Africa, hang on, we might as well show the whole graphic rather than just reading it off. 1 second, we'll scroll down. South Africa did go head-to-head with France. I have about 500 overlays. We'll go through. There we go. This is the one that we want. And there we go. These are South Africa's upcoming matches. They've got Italy next week. And then they've got the Irish the week after, which I think is the last big game that they will be targeting throughout the November internationals. That is the one that can stop them from getting the Grand Slam for the Northern Hemisphere Tour. And then the Welsh at the Principality. That is on the 30th of November. So that is when we're actually back into URC season. But yeah, that one will be taking place in about, I'd say, 20 days' time. Somewhere around there. Now we have got the Pity Australia loss. Could have been a Rugby Championship clean sweep, says Justin, and Silver Ferns leading 11 points to 4. And what do you think of Australia and their false revival, says LA Tens? Well, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because Australia, they're just inconsistent. They have times where it looks like they've finally found their rhythm, and then they also have times where it looks like they just don't know what rugby is. South Africa, best country to have ever existed, says Renier. And we have got there, do you think the worldwide popularity of rugby has fallen over the last 5 years, or is it just the perception of us here in the UK? I think it depends on what country you look at. to be honest, because the thing is, I would probably argue that for certain countries, rugby has grown. But then the likes of New Zealand, rugby is no longer the be-all, end-all like it used to be. You know, there's now cricket, there's now football, basketball. All those sports have kind of caught up. Rugby league even is starting to get a little bit more traction here in New Zealand compared to rugby union. I think the injuries hasn't helped. Says Haino there. And also we have got there, I think maybe in the UK, Mr. Ponty. Rugby has grown in other nations, so it shows that the game has improved over time. Game plan's totally different to these days compared to 10 to 20 years ago. Lotto has to be first picked in that Oz team all day. Yeah, Luka and Salakai Lotto has been phenomenal. Which I do think that to not put him in, I don't know. It just seems like an interesting choice to not have him in a starting line. Just because of that physicality. Definitely in the absence of Will Skelton as well. Hamish, what he's saying about Zammit at 13 or 15. I don't know. I don't know whereabouts he'd be best. Probably 15 out of those two options, but then Blair Murray's going well. Max Llewellyn has dropped the ball, so maybe they will look at Zammit, Lewis Rees-Zammit as their midfield option. But I don't know. It's hard to tell where they'll actually put him in, but there's one thing for sure, and that is that his impact has to be felt straight away in this scenario, because if it is not, then they'll be in a little bit of trouble. 1 second, we'll go like this. And we'll go like that as well. Is Zammit playing? He is making his way off of the bench for the Argentines. What we'll quickly do is that. There we go. 1 second. I am about to sneeze, so I will very quickly mute. There we go. We are good. But yeah, off of the bench, they have got Lewis Rees-Zammit as that number 23. Also, Kieran Hardy at 21, although Thomas Williams has looked strong back in an international Welsh kit. Rodrigo Isgro, Juan Cruz Malia is the two men making their way off the bench for the Argentines in terms of those back impact players. Rondon is there. Ale Mano as at number 19. Thomas Gachot, Inácio Ruiz. It's a pretty strong bench for Argentina, which is why Wales, like we said, they need to get back into this game, and they need to get back into there very quickly if they can. Hamish, great commentary. Are you feeling better? I would say that I'm less rough than I was yesterday, but still not quite feeling great. But hopefully tomorrow or the next day, Dan Biggar doesn't play anymore, right? No, he's more so the punditry at the moment, Dan Biggar. I think he was throughout the British and Irish Lions tour anyway, and rugby is more prominent in the USA, but obviously has much farther to go. Says Gus. And also we have got their great commentary. I read that one, didn't I? And Sunday, enjoy the rugby. Northern teams are cooking up a storm. Says Desmond. Yeah, they do just want to get that big win under their belt for a couple of these northern sides. They're going to miss the bigger dance. Says Aminia there. They are just showing Lewis Rees-Zammit warming up in the background. But this game just about to get back underway for the second half of rugby. Not as close as it was about maybe 20 minutes ago. 31 points to 14 this one. Wales want any chance. They will need to score next. Then they probably have to do it again. The Beecham's powder seems to have worked, Hamish. Says Eric, I think it was just getting a couple hours of sleep. I actually felt better, I will mention. That couple hours of sleep after the all-nighter, then going on to that rugby league stream, I did feel pretty decent on that one. Although as that match wore on, I started to feel worse. And then the sleep that I got in between that live stream and this one probably made me feel slightly worse, but we're still feeling all right. Could be much worse, I have to say. It's wonderful commentary, and you kept it coming even though you are sick. Says Ruth, but it is now kicked off by Wales, and we are back underway. And that's a hard landing for the Argentinian lock there. Your voice is warmed up too now, says Stephanie, and that probably just means that it's going to sound even worse tomorrow. But yeah, I might have to get strategic and film videos early so that it doesn't get too much more raspy. Going off to the left-hand side, popping it across Ben Thomas. Already a little bit of space for Josh Adams as he is tackled round the halfway line by Justo Picardo. And it's going to be... I just realised I always call him Reese Kerr, but it's actually Reese Carey, isn't it? Now back into the hands, Dewey Lake as a Rati. Now another step, Ben Thomas trying to sneak his way through Juan Martin Gonzalez. Please just don't use AI voice. Now tell me, Hamish, how illness currently? Still there. It's moved from the nose more so to the throat now. But I have one of those like numbing things beforehand. So, yeah, like I said, it could be worse. We've survived the weekend, so that's the good thing. That sounds deeper than it needs to, as in like survive doing all the commentary without it affecting us too badly. Thomas Williams. Going back across to the right-hand side. Dan Edwards. Currently 90 seconds down in the half, and Wales have had a majority of the possession, although now going to the aerial attack. Nicely taken. Under the high ball, that was from Llewellyn diving through Dewey Lake. Almost got himself penalised for leaving the feet. Being told to use it straight away there for Thomas Williams. Little pop pass up from Azarati to Duff Jenkins. Now Williams, skip pass to the right-hand side. Jack Morgan. If anyone's going to be able to change the momentum, it is certainly that man for what he normally is able to do for the Welsh. Aaron Wainwright doesn't decide to offload that time. You see Mako Vivas thinking about trying to get himself that steal. 16-10. Silver Ferns after the first quarter. Where is Scotland on the netball world rankings? Novmum, out of curiosity. I don't really know my netball that well. Oh, that's a... Looked like a drop ball for Reese Carey, but he has managed to hang on to it. Thomas Williams tries to kick him behind. Manages to regain that ball. And Wales now. Dan Edwards trying to pierce through, close to the steal and the breakdown for Argentina, and they have managed to get it back. Marcos Crema now going off to the left-hand side. Montoya skips it out wide. Chance, little bit of pace. Benitez Cruz pass on the inside to Juan Martin Gonzalez. His hands have really let him down today, but luckily for him, after a couple little juggles, was able to rein it back in. Off to the right once more. Big collision with Joaquin Oviedo. Now to the right once more. Little chip, crossfield, sitting up beautifully for Batista. Delgui cuts back in. That is a clinical finish from Argentina. And that should just about be the game now, you'd think, even before too far into the second half. Wales to thrash the box. Says Mike, and how long do you think your illness is going to last? I'd say, like, probably Tuesday, Wednesday. Because I did an all-nighter over the weekend, of course, they normally say that sleep is the best medicine, which I have completely avoided throughout the last kind of 2 or so days. So I'd say a couple decent sleeps, and I'll be good to go by about Wednesday. I'm hoping definitely before Thursday, because that's when I got cricket practice and then getting back ready for the next rugby weekend. But yeah, midweek I should be back to slightly better. I wish you sound a little less sick today, says Sandor. I would definitely not recommend going back to the start of this live stream then, because it sounded awful there, but no, the voice is warmed up now. So we're doing all right. 10th, Silver Ferns are second. Okay, so that's probably a little bit closer than I expected for that game, but that is a nice kick going over for the Welsh, for the Argentine. Scoreline now sitting 38 points to 14. And Thomas Williams actually receives the yellow card there for Wales. But here he comes, Lewis Rees-Zammit, making his way onto the field for the first time in a Welsh kit since his NFL journey, I guess you could call it. And we have got there the Argentinian flags from Sebastian. And fantastic bursts of brilliance running Pumas. But the thing is, he's out there on the field now with only 13 teammates. Because of that yellow card for Thomas Williams, we're really hoping that one day we will see a strong Wales again. Not good for rugby in general. Must be soul-destroying to be a Wales supporter. Although you wouldn't think it, would you? Because you look at the Principality and it's pretty much sold out for this matchup, which is absolutely massive. Just rage baiting my fellow South Africans. Wales can do it. I always respect every opponent. Says Mike now going short side again here. There's Rees-Zammit trying to cut him off. Does miss the tackle. And now kick downfield. Blair Murray takes that one only about 5 metres out from his try line. Having to try and dodge the two Pumas defenders. They are relentless though. Right in the breakdown. Just about keeping it on their side, Wales. It's very nicely done by the Pumas in terms of just chasing after it. Very mixed feelings on Reece Zammit. As a Welshman, keep your head down and play well, lad, says Maximus. Yeah, see, this is probably an interesting one. I guess it's a little bit the same as when you see in New Zealand a guy going to Japan or France, because theoretically when they do that, they aren't eligible to play international rugby. So, you know, he could be looked at in some regards as someone like a Richie Mo'unga for New Zealand, how, you know, he's going to be returning in the long run. Okay, so it was actually Thomas Williams ended up tackling Presiantelli off the ball. That was what he got his yellow card for. Going to the Cape Town Sevens for the first time. Can't wait. Says Hayno. Yeah, that's only about 4 weeks away, isn't it? That's come round very quickly. And also just the Sevens in general is very close to taking place. I've got it all written down on like a big sheet with the schedule of all the international games as well as just URC matches and everything. And it's pretty stocked up in terms of what is happening in December. That is going to be a forward pass from Argentina, which does give Wales the scrum feed. Wales are just being Wales. Australia, the broken down team at present, says Sandor. Oh, sounds like a change is about to be made here. Right, 15 is going off for an HIA here, so that is going to be Santiago Carreras. He's replaced with Juan Cruz Malia. And I think Carreras should be fine. He's yelling at the medical team, which normally means he feels like he's all right to continue in this match. I'm also frustrated that he has to make his way off of the field. And it's going to be the Welsh ball due to that Argentine forward pass. Yeah, so the 29th of November, that is the weekend that we see the Sevens coming back, the URC. International rugby-wise, we also get to see it is Wales versus South Africa. That's the weekend, I believe, that is our first week of longer form cricket for us here. So that's going to be brutal. That first day, we are going to be very sleepy. So by next weekend, are you going to be in tip-top shape? We need a healthy aim, says Mornay Lagrange. I believe so. I would be very surprised if this sticks around till next weekend as well. Definitely with the amount of oranges that I plan on consuming throughout the next 2 or 3 days. It should help me get back on track. Now another scrum reset here. Juan Cruz Malia, another standout player throughout the Rugby Championship. I actually picked him as my 15 of the tournament, which did get me in a bit of trouble. But still 33 minutes left here. Wales are down by 24 points. So for them to be able to get back into this contest, they would need themselves 3 tries and then a 3-pointer just to get back to a draw. They'd pretty much need the 4 tries to guarantee any sort of chance of making their way back into this game. Now, big push there and another advantage in favour of the Welsh. Aaron Wainwright breaking off the back. That was a good low tackle made on him. Now, Dewey Lake tries the spin. Thomas Gashaw, I do see that he is out there on the field for the Argentines as well. And going back for another penalty, this time to Wales. They're still playing with 14 men. Thomas Williams, he will be off the field for another, I would say, another 6 minutes or so from when he did get himself the early yellow card in the half. Orange is a perfect cure for any illness. Plenty of vitamin C. Wales, you're horrible. So here's Mawson there. Yeah, I also find that blueberries are decent in terms of trying to get over being sick a little bit quicker. Teaspoon of honey, a little bit of garlic, touch of cinnamon, with a shot of vodka. You'll be good as new in the morning, says Mike. Yeah, it's kind of... The tricky part has been, like I said, the sleep schedule. Because it's currently 5:30 a.m. here in New Zealand on a Monday morning. And that's the time that most people would be sleeping. Dewey Lake ready for this line-out throw. Total penalties conceded. 5 against Wales, just the 2 against Argentina. So I think that's actually the 2 in the second half. Argentina may not have conceded a single penalty throughout the whole first 40. Wales are broken. Says Leo there. Try get Medleman. Says Hayno. Right, available for Wales. Digging around for this ball, it is Dan Edwards. So he gets ready to roll it back into the pocket. Goes back across. And Wales really need to try hard to win this. Says Leo, nicely taken under the high ball for Juan Cruz Malia. Now Benitez Cruz, that one goes over the top. And who are Wales going to play next after the Argentina clash? Says Mornay, they are playing up against the Japanese in their next matchup. And then after that one, they have got themselves a matchup against the All Blacks. And then they do play the Springboks. So it is not a very easy road for the Welsh, although they do play up against Japan next week, which is the side that actually they were able to end their losing streak up against. Yeah, I would say that that's their game that they have to target here. They're up against 3 great rugby championship sides outside of that match, up against the Japanese. Japan did lose to Ireland just recently. 8 lineouts won by Argentina, and only 50%, or 66%, sorry, of the lineouts being won by the Welsh. In this one, eat, breathe, and sleep rugby. Whoops, no sleep, says Stephanie there. And I was expecting a nice suit and tie. Looks like you're scaling Wales. No, man. Says Morse. Yeah, we didn't even have the suit and tie on for France versus South Africa, for New Zealand versus Scotland. The only match that I actually had it on for was the Rugby League final between Samoa and New Zealand, but that was just because I was sick all throughout the weekend. And that was the only game that I had time beforehand to slightly get it organised. And also we get their Wales come on. A Welsh Dragon, let's win this watch, says Leo. Pick and go again here. Starting to get a little bit more possession and another penalty going in favour of Wales. It's now about 3 in a row against the Argentines. They're actually going to have to start being a bit more careful, or else time and time again, if they get penalised, they could find themselves going to the bin. Wales going to win 42-38. Says Haino there. Wales are going to win 45-38. Says Leo. Okay, so we've got 2 people going with no more points for the Argentines throughout this game. And desperate to see some fight from Wales turn this around. Says Maximus there too. And yeah, they showed a little bit of that fight and intent in the in the first half. There was that little half patch where they started getting some sort of momentum going. But outside of that, they haven't really got much going. But this is where, with so many penalties against Los Pumas, they might have half a chance. I feel like I'm very much so waiting to see if Wales fire back, because there's also a chance that if Argentina do cut out those penalties, they could get 50 points here. So it's kind of a bit of a 50-50 at the moment of which way this one's going to go. Is Osprey Salmon on now, or is he still on the bench? He is on the field now for the Welsh to come on at around the 47th minute of this contest. But Argentina are once again getting a penalty advantage against them. That was for offside. Looking for the clean out in the breakdown. Alex Mann is under pressure. Pick and go again for the Welsh. This time Nicky Smith does have that carry. Wainwright, pick and go. It's getting close now for the Welsh. That looked very close for Dewey Lake. But the ball pops out on the side of Pablo Matera right. I think that they're probably 1 away from a yellow card now for this Argentine side. This one's straight out in front of the post. There is no time for 3-pointers here, though. This is where you pretty much have to just go for it. Hope for the best. Oh, Wales, I'm passionate that you Welsh Dragons are going to win, says Leo there. Looks like Dewey Lake may have actually hurt his knee in the process. Wales need a redeemer. They need a seasoned, experienced coach like a Jake White, Jake the Snake. I'll make them world beaters. I had a friend called Nicky Smith, but it was a girl. Says, no, mum, looks like Thomas Williams is about to return from his yellow card time off the field. During that 10-minute period, I would actually argue that Wales have looked better. But now, quick tap and go. Jack Morgan gets over the try line. Wales. Is this the start of the comeback? In the second half, it looks like Morgan may have hurt himself in the process of scoring. He is holding that shoulder. That is not good news for the Welsh, as he has been one of the key players for them. Okay, I just saw him say shoulder there to Nicky Smith. But he is staying down with this injury. Jake White too stuck in his ways, and go the Pumas, says Alejandro. And Tritone says, hey no, Jack Morgan is a god amongst men. We're going to see it here, just the way that he lands. I think he may have possibly hyperextended that shoulder muscle a little bit. Now, he is still down over the try line. This does not look good for the Welsh. Now, that kick has gone over, making the score now 21 points to 38. He's only recently come back from an injury too, I believe, Jack Morgan. I love Argentina, but we'll be happy to see Wales win a game for a change. Says Daryl. Right, can he continue in this game? So far, 14 carries, 65 metres made, 12 tackles, and then also 2 turnovers, 1. He has been everywhere. He's probably a man of the match contender, even though he's on the losing side for this contest, and it does look like Morgan's day is done, unfortunately. Had a shoulder dislocation while scoring on my team the other day. Looks similar, says Maximus. And rugby players don't stay down for no reason. Says Martin there, may have hyperextended his arm there. Says Hano, so yeah, he has made his way off now. Which is a big shame for the Welsh, although they look like they're starting to feel a little bit more momentum going straight through a gap. It's Dan Edwards. He's got Thomas Williams with him. He needed to use him, or does he? Gets ankle tapped and can't quite link up. That is brilliant work from Argentina to shut him down. You wonder whether or not a draw and pass there could have done the job for Wales. But he felt like he could do it himself. Dan Edwards, that ball pops out the side, and Argentina managed to get themselves the steal. And unlucky, says Hano. In there, yeah, you wonder whether or not, had he passed that to Thomas Williams, whether that would have been a run-in opportunity for the Welsh number 9. Give it up already, Wales, says Morse. 55 minutes through, still 17 points separating these two sides. I do see it as Cracknell, who has made his way onto the field for Jack Morgan here. And minutes left, Hamish, still 25 minutes remaining, so plenty of time on the clock for some sort of comeback here from this Pumas side. But whether or not that is what is going to happen, do have to wait and see. See, Thomas Williams probably would have been shut down too, but you still, I think, draw and pass in that scenario. It's a brutal last 2 fixtures for Wales and Japan, and also tricky, especially when with Eddie Jones as the Japanese coach. So here's Monet Lagrange. Hey guys, it's Lewis Rees-Zammit on the pitch, or still on the bench. Like I mentioned, he came on the field at about the 45th minute of the contest. So he is now on the field, but hasn't touched the ball as of yet. Now Thomas Williams, off to the left-hand side. Come on, Wales, you have the fire and the determination to win. So here's Leo. Now passed across. This might be the chance for Lewis Rees-Zammit. Kicked him behind. He won't be able to catch up with it though, and that ball does go just about dead. Yes, it does. Just a bit too much on that kick from Josh Adams. The stupid kick, says Hano. Wales can give the Bock an easy 50. Says Morse. Lewis Rees-Zammit a little bit overrated, eh? Says Morse. I think the fact that he chased the chance of going into the NFL, like, good on him. Life's too short to just not do what you want to do. Possession last 10 minutes, 94% for the Welsh. But, like, you know, you look at certain players who, at the end of their careers, they probably regret not going in certain directions. Lewis Rees-Zammit, he took the risk. He saw whether or not there was a chance, and he honestly did a lot better than a lot of people thought that he would. I've seen that there's so many people online who are going, ha, he failed, he sucks, he didn't get to achieve his dreams. But I think even just being where he got to was a big dream for Lewis Rees-Zammit, and he proved to himself that, you know, he is an elite athlete. He was right up there with the best of the US, and now comes back for Wales, and still a bright future there as well. Who Lewis Rees-Zammit play club rugby nowadays? He's for Red Bull in the Premiership. He's playing for that Newcastle side, I believe it is. I think it's Newcastle. Could be wrong, though. My biggest problem with Wales at the moment is they always seem to even flow with intensity in matches. Oh, the Bristol Bears, says Leo. Was he rumoured that he was going to sign with that Red Bull side and then didn't? Maybe that's the last time that I saw about it. Because I know that quite a few guys were rumoured. In the end, Tom Christie did go in that direction, I did see. So he won't be at the Crusaders for next season in Super Rugby. Come on, the Boomers win-win. And also we have got there, South African touches ahead. Gets a 9-match ban. Says Anita, are we talking about this head or the other one? Anita, in that scenario. Because if you're talking about Jan Hendrik Vessels as one, yeah, that one was definitely the downstairs department. But once again, we haven't really seen the angles that they talk about. Thanks, gent, says Morse. And yes, my brother, says Martin. Lewis Rees-Zammit plays for the Bristol Bears, and I think Eddie Jones is going to target the Wales game for a win. Can't wait for the banter against Wales. Says Mornay, nicely taken by Batista Delgado around the halfway line. Argentina back in position. That looked like almost playing the 9. He gets back up to his feet, has the ball ripped out of his hands. Benitez Cruz has a rough little couple minutes there or a couple phases, I should say, trying to get that ball back. Looks like there is a player in back play who has stayed down. Now Lewis Rees-Zammit chips it in behind. Does the ball stay in the field of play? It doesn't. It just ends up with a knock on. Hang on. That looked like a clear knock on from Lewis Rees-Zammit. They haven't just awarded that try, have they? No. I think it's been called as the knock on. I look backwards to me. Says Haino, and anything could happen in the second half, says Stephanie there, and Springboks are the best the world has ever seen, says Martin. Right, we're going to see the replay now for Lewis Rees-Zammit. No, that's a knock on. In that scenario, I ended up trying to regather it and couldn't quite do so, Lewis Rees-Zammit. And also we have got there when will the new teams apply for Wales, 4 teams to 3. Just showing the replay there again. And anyone here from Wales? Says Leo. Yeah, Rees-Zammit frustrated with that, as that was the big chance to give the Welsh another try on this contest, which would have put them theoretically as little as 10 points down. If so, what are your thoughts about the team? Says Leo there. Santiago Herreras, he has passed his HIA. We also see there Grondona, he has made his way on for Joaquin Oviedo. I believe it's 2026 or 2028. Lopez says, hey, no. Yeah, I think it's a little bit in the future. And me, I live in Germany. Hence, I'm here for the commentary. Says Gavin. Did I see Germany played someone in rugby recently too, Gavin? Maybe the UK or something like that I saw may have happened in a match. I can't remember which match it was, though. And I have a feeling that I wouldn't be able to find it if I did try to. Unless I got lucky and randomly saved it on Instagram, which I don't think I would have. Oh, and that's going to be the penalty to the Argentinian pack. No, I didn't save it when I looked at the post. So I'm not too sure who it was. The British Army. That was a close game, wasn't it? I can't remember the exact score. Both sides got in the 20s, I want to say. Maybe like 21-28 or something like that. Maybe. I should have looked at that post better, shouldn't I? But we see there, Tuco Barres, he has made his way off for Juan Cruz Malia. Wales need another one. Our time is ticking, says Ruth. Maybe one of them got 24 points. Gavin, what are your thoughts about Wales' team at the moment? So tell me, Hamish, what went wrong for Australia beaten by Italy? It's all-time low for Australia. I wouldn't call it an all-time low. I think the all-time low was missing out on that Rugby World Cup quarterfinal in 2023. But I think they just weren't clinical throughout their match by the sounds of it. I haven't watched that game as of yet, but by the sounds of what people were saying, they just got it wrong. 21-24 to Germany, says Gavin. So a close game there. See Mateo Carreras, he makes his way off for Rodrigo Isgro. Also another change in that locking duo. We see Mateus Alemano making his way on. I see taken though by Guido Betti. Now 20 minutes remaining in this fixture. Still the 17 points separating these two sides. Beautifully taken by Santiago Herreras. I want New Zealand to shut up the copycats English this week. Borthwick cannot come up with his own style. Obviously the poor man's Bach. Says Mawson, that's going to be the knock on there from Argentina. Like they have said, these just little moments here, giving Welsh that bit of belief in this contest. Guys, eyebrows stand out big time. Liam Belcher. Different colour to the rest of his facial hair. But going up for it was Blair Murray. And didn't really get the good jump in. Santiago Herreras did end up winning that aerial battle. Still the 19 minutes left. So at this point in time, Wales pretty much need a point a minute if they want to go on and win this match. You see the frustration for the Argentinian coach there as well. He knows those type of moments could be absolutely crucial. So head towards the end of this one. Now, scrum feed. Wales have the ball. It's an interception though. And that is the moment that should win Argentina the game. Telly slides on through. Mistake from Wales, but a massive moment for the Argentines. That should secure the game, and it was just a missed pass. Belcher, very Welsh, says Ruth there. I wonder if he's any relation to Alan Belcher, or Belcher. He's the bare knuckle guy, isn't he? In game, set, match, and that's the game. Says Maximus, I hear Australia going to play Ireland next weekend, and then France the following week. Brutal last matches for Australia. And Pumas getting tired. And come on, Wales. Says Morse there, but a great finish from Telly. That kick has gone over too, making this score 45 points to 21. And vamos los Pumas. Unbelievable shame interception. Says Roof there too. He was way offside. Try can't stand. Says Scott, and nice one, Pumas. Says Stephanie there too. And Belcher probably family, Hamish. Says Ruth. Nice take from Juan Cruz Malia. Checking for offside and blocking. Says Morse there. Benitez Cruz. Just the 17 minutes remaining. Was that an intercept due to a bad pass? He just rushed up very quickly. Telly read it very well. Ended up being able to shut it down. Vamos los Pumas. Says Sunari. Oh, loose ball. Batista Delgui unable to claim it cleanly, so it is back in the hands of the Welsh, and now they need themselves more than a point a minute. They want to go on to win this game. Who are France going to be playing next weekend? Next weekend they have got Fiji, and then the weekend after that Australia for their last two matches. It's actually crazy to think we're already theoretically halfway through the November internationals. In some regards. Kind of. Not really. Actually, hang on. Maths needs to happen in my head. Not really. We're still quite early on. We're actually more so the 1.5 weeks through. But yeah, only 2 more big weekends of international rugby, and then the following week we're pretty much straight back into URC 7s alongside the Box still playing up against the Welsh. Going to switch to Man City versus Liverpool. Says Hano. And there as well. 7 phases in a row for the Welsh. Being told to use it. Thomas Williams, he decides to kick this one up high. Lewis Rees-Zammit chasing after it and makes the tackle low, but getting the offload away for Argentina. Batista Delgui manages to get through one. Got to step and be onside. Score there from Ben O'Keefe, so just making sure that the Welsh don't get themselves offside. We'll stick with your commentary. Says Hano there and off to the bakery for a few pies soon. My shout requests. Is it I assume it's like a local homemade pie bakery. Well, steak and cheese is normally a pretty decent choice, I have to say. That's normally a pretty good one to go with. That elbow France will hurt them for years, says Morse. And if you bring home some lemon creams, that'd be nice, Nas. Says Hano there. It looks like at the moment, Dewey he's got the shoulder in a sling, so he's going to be missing for the rest of the time. Come on, Hamish, my head injury was gold, says Anita there. I assumed you were referencing Jan Hendrik Vessel's one. I probably didn't play into it that well because I was confused at whether or not it was that one or whether there was because of course there was a player who tried to kick someone in the head earlier on today in this match, so I was slightly confused. But no, it was good. I have to give you credit for it. Jan Hendrik Vessel's, poor fella. But then if he did grab the gonads, then it's still a weird one, isn't it? Because it's still very much a split of, in some regards, it's like he's unlucky, but then if he did it, then it's fair enough, but I don't know who to believe in the scenario. You know, I'm too indecisive. I feel like there's evidence on both sides, so it's a bit of a weird one. Argentina going to play next, says Mornay. Their next game is up against Scotland next weekend, and then they have got England the weekend after that. Moyano makes his way onto the field. That is for Benitez Cruz. About 15 minutes still remaining on the clock in this game. Thomas Williams feeds the ball in. It looks like he's going to be playing close to the 80 minutes. Like I mentioned, his first Welsh game since that British and Irish Lions tour injury. Off to the left. Oh, wow. Blair Murray just gets slung to the ground by Rodrigo Isgro. Well, that looked like a close to forward pass. Off to the right-hand side again. Little step attempted by Nicky Smith. And Argentina going, oh no, I read that one, didn't I? Now breaking the line, chance here. Thomas goes to Lewis Rees-Zammit. He tries to chip him behind again, and it just goes dead. Doesn't quite manage to clean it up there, Lewis Rees-Zammit. He's hurt himself too. Looks like maybe he's hurt his shoulder in the process. He looks like he's going to get up though. And the Welsh will be hoping that it is nothing major, because if that is a shoulder injury for Lewis Rees-Zammit, as well as for Jack Morgan, it goes from bad to worse for this Welsh side. See it there, Lewis Rees-Zammit though, pinning back the ears and charging forward. Yeah, it does just get that little bit of a shoulder check from Juan Cruz Malia as well. In fact, it was Santiago Herreras. And hey, Hamish, are you feeling better, brother? In some ways, yes. The throat's gone a little bit more dodgy today, but more so it was the nose yesterday, but we're getting there. I would say a couple more oranges and a decent night's sleep, like the most sleep that I've been able to get since about, I'd say, Friday night, and it's currently Monday morning here in New Zealand, but yeah, Friday night I got a slightly decent sleep. Since then, the most sleep I've been able to get is about 3 or 4 hours in a stretch. So I'm probably still about day 2 of my cold, theoretically, even though I'm up to like day 4, if that makes sense. But yeah, decent sleep will help out big time. Another penalty goes the way of Argentina. Not driving straight, the call against this Welsh pack. We have there, chocolate chip muffin, thanks. Says Naz Williams there too. I wonder if the bakery's open here. I don't think it will be yet. Even though bakeries normally early morning, aren't they? They are closed. They open, they open at 8 a.m. That seems like it's quite late for a bakery, is it? Do most bakeries open before 8 a.m. or am I just thinking that it's because they're up early doing the baking that I think they open early? Ready to throw it in. Nicely taken. Now rolling maul for the Argentines. They are going sideways, so jotting the request down. Says Naz Williams now breaking off Ignacio Ruiz with a good fend there on Alex Mann. They do the baking early. Says Mikhail. Now Moyano manages to fight for that ball. Loose ball picked up by Picardo this time. 12 minutes still on the clock. Argentina have more than enough time to bring up their 50 points. The half century could be on the cards. Now passed across to the left-hand side. Shoveled on by Thomas. Oh, the ball is not out at the moment. I've been told to use it. I don't know what Wales is going to do. Only in Hallmark movies are the bakeries open early. What town in New Zealand are you from? Says Grant. Sadly, a very small one, which means there is like no McDonald's, no KFC, nothing's really open up until normal hours, and pretty much everywhere closes at about 8 p.m. Your nose has recovered at least, Hamish. Was very red yesterday, says World Champs twice. Yeah, it's still feeling it, but it's not as bad as it was yesterday, which is good. This looks like a bad injury here. One of the Argentine players as they sit around the halfway line now, the Pumas. Moyano. And across to Juan Martin Gonzalez. Told to use it once more. And they will go with the up and under. Wales trying to get the charge down of Duff Jenkins. That one's gone almost straight sideways. Lewis Rees-Zammit going up for the high ball, but it is claimed by Batista Delgui. For me, was one of the best under the high ball throughout the whole of the Rugby Championship. Baker start at 4 a.m. in the morning, says Ruth. I'm looking forward to your pre-match prediction for the Italian game, says Mornay Lagrange. Yeah, it'll be interesting because Russi's definitely going to make some changes, you would think, and go with, once again, a very similar side to what they went with up against the French, up against Ireland. It's also saying Russi will announce his team likely Tuesday or Wednesday, says Haino. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get that prediction up tonight. Although I will still have to film it. I'll have to get me guest and get all organised there. But he does keep us on our toes, of course, Russi. In terms of when those lineups are announced. Now another step from Blair Murray. I'm hoping Byron Fenter starts. I think he almost has to. Because getting taken off after 31 minutes seems pretty rough for a guy who wasn't doing that badly. throughout the match. Like, I guess it was strategic that they wanted to make the switch. But it's a good way to ruin a guy's confidence, take him off that early in a contest. Now kicked him behind. Argentina with the ball. And they will send this one back downfield, looking for the 50-22. But Wales back there. Ben Thomas goes to Blair Murray. Been one of the better players out there on the field for the Welsh today. And manages to get that ball. Has the support runner with him. Unfortunately, just ended up in the same place as Freddie Thomas. Off to the left. Chance to go on. Now Josh Adams, he's had a quiet day at the office out there for Wales. 9 minutes left though on the clock. Looks like Blair Murray also slow. Getting back up to his feet. He's also holding his shoulder. That'll be the third shoulder injury here for the Welsh if that was the case. Thomas Williams back across now into the hands of Archie Griffin. 9 minutes on the clock. Williams now shovels it in behind, and the drop ball from Llewellyn. That is now his second handling error of the day, but it has gone backwards, and the penalty awarded to the Welsh. That is for offside against Argentina. Rassi said the post-match that he saw Bowen did well. Wasn't quite at that test match level he needs to be. I think it was like a tester to see if he was ready or not, says Haino. See, the thing for that, though, as well, like, I can understand what he's saying, but at the same time, he hasn't played Bowen Fenter pretty much at all. So I feel like you're also in that scenario of the only way for him to get to test match level is to actually give him minutes. Like, it's all well and good playing Ox and Share for every single game up until he physically can't continue and now is injured. But, like, at some stage you have to be willing to give... Like, that's probably the only position he hasn't really experimented in that loose head prop role. And Ox, unfortunately, it got to the point how, because of all those minutes and slowly just keeping on working away, he got to the stage of breaking point. Hey, good morning. How is the Delgi playing? He's done well out on the wing. Great under the high ball once again, just like he was throughout the Rugby Championship. Rolling more chance here for Wales. 10 metres out from the try line. So they start to get this one moving. 24 points difference between these two sides and 7.5 minutes left for Wales to try and get that a little bit closer on the score sheet. Now off to the right. Chance here in the midfield. Ben Thomas. He's going to be... Oh, that was a weird one. Josh Adams was riding him like he was a horse. Off to the right. Close to the post. Another advantage. This time offside against Grondona. Now Thomas Williams. That is a good pass. Goes to Blair Murray who scores it. If we beat the Irish, we have beat most teams at home. Says Haino there. Yeah, well, at the moment at the Stade de France, the Springboks hold about a 20-year record over France, which is very impressive, but that is a finish and a half from Blair Murray. It does seem like he's still nursing that shoulder. The Six Nations will suffer because of the Welsh decline. Soccer has taken over in Wales. Rugby is just not as popular at more clubs are in debt, says Porter. And well-deserved try, says I Lollipop, and Welsh rugby has gone downhill. Not only are they struggling on the international stage, but on the domestic one too, says George. That kick has gone over from Jared Evans. That one will be 28 points to 45 now on the score sheet. Just doing the maths in my head. Still 17 points difference. Hoping that at least Wales get a consolation try. Is in another one after that one there, or is that their consolation in this case, Daryl? I didn't have time to mute for that one. We have you there tuned in late, but I'm here, H. Looks like Argentina is walking this game. You seem to be better today. Still like we have only 3 teams in Southern Hemisphere that can play the game. Says Jan there. And Wales deserve that try. Makes the score line more respectable. And yeah, like one more try here for Wales. 45-35. I think would look great on the score sheet. At least he says Stephanie. And then Hamish, your efforts in all areas of your commentary is immaculate. Says Nars Williams. Now going off to the right-hand side. Josh Adams. He's had more of the ball in the last 10 minutes than he had throughout the rest of the match. One more would be nice, says Daryl there. An Argentina winning item to lose. Currently 5 minutes remaining. Thomas Williams told to use again. Doesn't look like they are going to make that change of Kieran Hardy, or at least not right now. I've been able to watch out of the corner of my eye. It looks like Lewis Rizema has been playing quite well. He's had a couple good moments. And there's one more moment I'm about to sneeze again, so we will quickly mute. Although Argentina breaking down the wing, I'm trying to hold off the sneeze as long as I can. 5 meters out from the try line. got me with the double, but 5 metres out from the try line. Argentina now in a good position to go on to get themselves another try. An advantage in their favour too. They'll go back for the penalty. Hopefully Wales get another try question. As will they get it? Says George. I've only been... Oh no, I read that one, didn't I? Good night all. Going to have a quick swim. Says Bruce. And Hachu says Naz Williams. Yeah, it was a terribly timed sneeze, that is for sure. But we got it out and we got going again. Right, it looks like Argentina may actually opt to go for the quick tap here. Just the 5 or so metres out from the try line. Oh no, my apologies. They'll kick for the corner. We're going to get this rolling maul moving here with Presi and Tally. It looks like Santiago Jerez has head-butted a line as he has ended up with the white on the forehead. It was a missed tackle from Thomas Williams initially, and then also Blair Murray just losing his footing. Santiago Jerez. And come on, Wales, you can do this. Says Morse. And Pumas want to end well, says Roof there too. Ready to throw this ball in. Slap back to the right-hand side. Juan Martin Gonzalez. Grabs that one. Pops it across to the right-hand side. Oh, and drop ball for Argentina. Now counter-attacking chance for the Welsh. This one's going to be kicked into touch. Doesn't get a massive amount of distance on it. Aussie wounded animal. Coming to Dublin. Welcome back, Joe Schmidt. No show like a Joe show, says Porter. And yeah, last time those two sides played at the Aviva, it was actually really competitive last year, wasn't it? From what I remember. I think it was separated by very little points. We're just going to go through. Yeah, 22-19 in the end for that match. It was the 73rd minute try from Gus McCarthy to help secure it for the Irish. And well done, H. You deserve a good rest after this. Get well soon. Says Jan there. Thanks for all the stream so much. Massive shift, and it's greatly appreciated. Says Hano. And yeah, we have got plenty more coming up next weekend as well. So, of course, we'll be sure tune in for those. 3 minutes left, though. Can the Argentines get themselves maybe one more try in this contest? Looking to the short side. Pops it back on the inside of Juan Martin Gonzalez. Another offload. Finding Rapetti. And come on, Wales, show them your animal in you. Says Morse. Moyano. Going off to the left-hand side. Pablo Matera. Pops the pass across field. Middle of the park. Guido Petty, he's put in a good shift. And that number 4 jersey, another advantage against the Welsh. Low tackle made by Llewellyn. Now another sniping run. Quite able to get through. Left-hand side once more for Picardo. I've done the pools for the World Cup. And the final will be Wallabies versus All Blacks. Says Novmum. So how do you work out who was going into each pool in terms of those ones that are normally randomly drawn with the balls, Novmum? Out of curiosity, because I have tried to work it out myself, and it's very tricky to know who's going head-to-head. Do you think the Pumas will win against England and Scotland? I think that they'll be competitive up against Scotland. Normally at Twickenham, England have that advantage over the Pumas. We've seen it in the last few times that they've played there, that Argentina seem to lose their stride up against the English. I'm just going to look through. 1 second, we'll go like this. We'll go like that. Although, yeah, that's the thing. Last time those two sides played outside of Argentina would have been the 2023 World Cup 3rd and 4th match, I believe. Thanks for all your efforts, much appreciated. Here in Plettenberg, base South Africa, says Daryl. Did a random number generator, so did 1 to 6. And then 7 to 12, etc. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that World Cup draw, seeing exactly who's going to be playing who, because then we get the fixtures announced not too long after that, and then it does get a lot easier. I don't know which games to get really excited for. Come on, Wales, 4 minutes, get one more. Says Daryl, though now it is 1 minute left on the clock, and Argentina will have themselves the last attacking chance of this half. Unless, of course, Wales can get themselves the big steal. But Moyano going across to the left-hand side. Chance for Argentina. 1. Cruz Malia just a 1 metre short over the line there. That looks like a grounding of the ball. And I think they're going to check this. Grondona thinks that he scored it. They are going to go upstairs. Ben O'Keefe. They've said there that they managed to get there. Oh, actually, sorry, Twickenham. I just actually looked it up, and Argentina were able to sneak a win over the English at Twickenham in 2022. 30 points to 29 in that match. So it could be a lot closer than I thought that it would be, perhaps. Got to go a fair old way back before we see the last time that those two sides played at Twickenham Stadium. Next week's England-New Zealand game is going to be massive. Says I Lollipop. Looks like Wales' streak ends today. Says Nov Mum. Just checking that grounding for Grondona. Looks like the ball does touch the goal line, but it's whether or not he's still in control of it at the time of the grounding. Yeah, that's fine. And that is a great finish from Grondona. That is a try for the Argentines, which will take them to 50 points in this contest. The tries awarded in just the 16 seconds remaining. Santiago Rondona has managed to score that try. And yes, says Sinnery. And Shane Mann, another smack bottom for Wales, says Daryl. Yeah, 22-point victory at the moment, shaping up for Argentina. If this kick goes over, it becomes 24 points. 1 point in this game, it was 14 points to 14 between these two sides. But that doesn't look like it's going to be the way that this one ends. The kick has gone over from Carreras, and that makes the score 52-28 at the full-time siren. The win for the Pumas in Wales. And next week's game, it is up against Scotland, whereas for the Welsh, they will go head-to-head with Japan. Side that they have been able to beat this year. A couple intriguing ones just around the corner. There's got to be a new low for Wales. Argentina are a pretty decent side, though. They were able to beat everyone in the Rugby Championship last year. And then this year, they were able to beat 2 out of the 3 sides. Wales have a bit of work to do. There's Nabi. And the big concern at the moment for them is the fact that Jack Morgan left the field with a shoulder injury. Because without him, you know, he had 65 metres carried, 12 tackles made, 2 turnovers, 1. Like, without those numbers, Wales will find themselves having to work that little bit harder and there as well. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in to not just this live stream, but also the ones all throughout the weekend. We've got plenty more coming next week, including a couple Rugby World Cup qualifiers, hopefully on Friday morning, New Zealand time. So be sure to check those ones out. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all for the next one.